Okay, we're now on to the New Zealand Warriors in our NRL 2021 season preview series. Last season they finished 10th, 16 points, 8 wins and 12 losses, and that was in adversity. They had to play away from home on the Central Coast. They were moved from New Zealand into a bubble on the Central Coast. They had played no games in Auckland. Had a coaching change midway through the season. Players had left camp midway through the season to return home. A lot of disruption. They were winning games towards the end of the season and came very, very close. They came within 2 games of making the finals. They finished 10th overall with 16 points, 8 wins and 12 losses. That defeat to the Sharks near the end of the season was the end of their finals push. But what is interesting is their set completion rate and their unstructured play. Normally you would think unstructured play with halfbacks like Chanel Harris-Tavita and Koji Nikorima would lead to a lot of mistakes. And there were mistakes in some games, but you look at their set completion rate. There were some games where they were completing at nearly 90%. That is insane. I think it was one game where they had over 40 consecutive sets in a row completed. You are going to win games doing that. That's a good, strong basis. So that unstructured play, when they're on the last play, they can do things because they've worn the opposition down, and a lot of their great tries did come from unstructured play. Harris-Tavita and Koji Nikorima, some of their creativity is very unstructured, and that is it's a joy to watch. That's part of their strengths. Their weaknesses, the lack of sustained success over a lengthy period of time is a problem, and the constant coaching changes. Now, yes, the Todd Paynton experiment when he was interim coach worked very, very well. Most of their wins came after he took over. The unfortunate thing was, for unforeseen circumstances, mostly family reasons, he's not staying on this season. So Nathan Brown is the 3rd coach they've had in 12 months. But this is a long-term thing with the constant chopping and changing at coach. That is a weakness. That's a different voice in the room on a regular basis. And that will affect the lack of sustained success. Because you're not giving a coach a chance to imprint himself on a team and build his roster how he wants, you're not going to get that sustained success. For all this good they did under Todd Paynton with the set completion and winning games and being competitive in games, he was only there for half a season, and then he's gone and he's replaced. Now they've got to make sure that Nathan Brown can build upon what Todd Paynton left behind, which was positivity, good team unity, momentum. Some of the signings they brought in had a positive impact, and we'll wait and see what happens going forward. But Chanel Harris-Tavita has got more of a role in the side. I think he's going to be Koji Nikorima's halfback partner. They have a very good creative axis. Very, very good creative axis. They need a little bit more structure to some of their build-up play, but Harris-Tavita in defence is very physical for a halfback. He will throw big hits. And Koji Nikorima, his runs, just his darting little runs and his unstructured play, very much like Sean Johnson, and that is a positive. The player to watch me is Chanel Harris-Tavita. You look at him, some of his defensive play. He for a young halfback, he would expect to be a little bit more within himself. He throws himself into tackles. He can also play hooker as well, so he's a very useful player. If you have another halfback come in and an issue at hooker, he can play 9, which is really handy. He's a very creative player, but my God, he's physical, and he's not a small halfback either. He's one of the bigger halfbacks that I've seen in the game. And he can throw a hit, and he doesn't mind getting stuck in for 80 minutes. He can throw in these hits and tackles throughout the game. He can also take a hit as well. He's a very, very physical player. He's also a very, very skillful player, and he's still very, very young. So watch him to have a big impact this season alongside Koji Nikorima. I think he brings a bit more physicality that Nikorima lacks with his lack of size. He can be a foil for Nikorima. That for me is a player to watch. Now, my prediction for them, I've been a bit more open with this prediction. Other predictions I've said, team can make a finals appearance, team can make a run in the finals, team could be a dog. With the Warriors, I think they're going to finish somewhere between 10th and 7th, and I'm looking for more continued improvement. I think they've got a good basis. That Todd Paynton has left the right structures in place for Nathan Brown to build upon with this team. The players now believe a little bit more that they can be competitive and they can be in games where in seasons past they would stop playing, they would fall apart, their defence would weaken. After Todd Paynton took over, their defence massively improved, and I would think that those building blocks are now in place for Nathan Brown to take that next step. And if they can get in the top 8, they could be a very, very dangerous side. But I still think there's still room for a few more additions, and we don't know if they're going to be able to play games in New Zealand or if they're going to stay on the Central Coast for another season. That will be interesting to see. when the season starts, and that's in 3 months' time. So this video could be very, very dated. They could be allowed to play in New Zealand all their home games, but I'm going under the assumption that they're not, and that could have a positive impact. It brought the side together when Todd Payton was coach, but it also could have a negative impact. We saw players like Mamalo, for example, leave the squad and go home to their families. So that it's weighing up that kind of situation. But I think they're going to be a pretty solid watch. They're going to be exciting. You're not going to die wondering watching this team. They are going to entertain, and it will be very, very interesting to see where they end up in the regular season and can they make a finals push. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I shall have some more videos for you very, very soon.